This show is supported by Odoo. When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Friends beyond the binary. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Yodish beings, and friends of Mandalore. There's something about the term Yodish being that I just love saying. I think, like someone would say, what do you mean Yodish being? And I'd say, I'm not even actually sure what ish means. Is this a sleepy-ish podcast? Or is it sleepy-esque? Yoda-esque, I guess. Is that anything like Odalesque? If you're wondering where you are, you may be in the right place. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that's here to keep you company while you fall asleep. We say the podcast that puts you to sleep does put a lot of people to sleep eventually. But I'm really here to be your friend in the deep, dark night because you deserve a friend in the deep, dark night. Someone to keep you company, take your mind off of stuff because you deserve a good night's sleep. And you're probably frustrated if you've been trying to find stuff to put you to sleep or you've had trouble sleeping or you're going through something that's keeping you up. So I'm here to help with that by being your friend and rambling on and on and on. This show's a bit different, so give it a few tries. That's just what most regular listeners say. Hey, it took 2 or 3 tries for me to realize, this podcast doesn't go anywhere. He's always rambling about nothing. He really doesn't know what ish means. So he doesn't know he knows what he means when he says Yodish being. Because has anyone said like that, they probably have, but I mean, I don't know my time, I don't know my rear end from my timeline, if you know what I'm saying. For sure. So welcome to Sleep With Me. Oh, what we got coming up? So there's support. That's how the show comes out free. Then there'll be a long meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime. Don't miss out on that. Then we'll have, our Mandalorian coverage of episode 7. I don't know what we're going to call it. I'll probably try to think of a French word for, the title. Or I Spy with my little Yodish being eyes, being oh so cute. And hopefully me going off topic and get mixed up puts you to sleep. Welcome to Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And this is how we're able to do it for you for free twice a week are these sponsors. All right, everybody, Scooter here. We're queuing up Chapter 7. The Splahs, I don't know why spies, I guess the spies isn't, I was just wondering, should I put that in the title? The spy, a word that would keep people awake, but we're getting close. This is chapter 23. You probably heard my math in the intro. And let's fire this thing up and see what's what. Starts off with a shot over Oso's right shoulder, then Oso in the, or Grogu. Atmosphere is breathable. Mandalore not cursed. Bo-Katan correct. Then the armorer Bo-Katan is going to bring other Mandalorians in exile back to us so we may join together again. Time to retake Mandalore. Then Axe Woves, versus Bo-Katan, win Bo-Katan, and says, please give me back my fleet, not unless you have the Darksaber. Mandalorian says, actually, Bo-Katan is the rightful holder of the Darksaber because I lost it as part of some sort of Build-A-Bear workshop, so now I return this blade to its rightful owner. Bo-Katan blade out. Then space, New Republic, extraction of Moff Gideon. Beskar left behind. Something embedded in the cabin wall. Beskar alloy. Then we have KOB and glaring, and then the episode opens. Oh, no. First, we get the Lucasfilm Limited. Then we get the Star Wars thing. Along with the music, which I'm not hearing because I'm just, I'm working here. Oh, we get the cityscape, neon music's pumping. We get some bass going, like a little bit like a feeling of like a 9 Inch Nails almost. And we scroll down, we see an alley. First we're still slowly going down level after level through the skyscrapers and neon. We see KOB, Officer KOB. Well, first I know we just see really nice hair and a raincoat with collar turned up. So I don't know. I mean, I think we could safely assume it's KOB's hair, but yeah. Then we see Katie O'Brien. I'm not good with letters, but hands in the pocket now. There's mist. Holy cow, there's a lot of mist in this alley. The old misty alley. Then we see, I guess these are probe droids. I don't know what these proper things are called. These are those big droids. It's got a red eye. Makes some sort of a digital, warbling according to the captions. Settles down, scans through the face. TK2755. That's who. TK2755. Then it raises after it scans TK2755. We see Moff Gideon. Give me a report. Make it quick. I'm in a hurry. Pirates ran into trouble on Navarro. On your last report, you said they weren't going to have support. They did from Mandalorians. It wasn't the New Republic. Mandalorians? Which ones? I don't know. One's in armor? Bo-Katan Kryze and a squadron of Mandalorians. Din Djarin and his covert. Those factions don't get along. We also hear like TK whatever's worried, TK KOB. And then Moff Gideon says, I'll deal with the Mandalorians. We see Moff Gideon with a palm projector. Then Moff Gideon goes through some laser walls or something, red laser walls. We also see some sort of a new soldier all standing at the ready. Different than his last round of robotic soldiers. Then he goes by some tanks where there's something like not fish. And then he goes into, this would be the worst thing ever. It's a Zoom meeting, but it's a full body Zoom meeting. So one, you have to be full, you can't wear comfortable shorts or sweatpants. Two, you got to be standing up the whole time. And three, you couldn't be doing something like holding phloem or a fidget toy. You have to be standing at attention. It's really a bummer for me. It's a meeting of like imperial types, and they're kind of bickering, I guess you'd say, plundering hyperspace ranges. Why are you getting too much attention? We're supposed to be unorganized remnant warlords. We don't want to get the New Republic's attention. Then somebody else says, yeah, but there's people loyal to the Empire. Why don't we just tell them? They're sick of the New Republic. It's a joke. Rules, regulations. Somebody else says, yeah, they're going to rally behind us. Moff Gideon rolls in, does some nodding. Then they talk about Grand Admiral Thrawn will herald a reemergence of, like when Thrawn arrives. Commander Hux and I got another secret project going. Pelion, that's who's talking, because Moff Gideon scoffs at him. Once again, talking about Thrawn. And just like a box of sea monkeys, now living up to what's on the advertisement. Says, when's the Shadow Council, which is everybody who's meeting, when are we going to see this Thrawn? It's a secret, dude. And then Gideon says, secrets are my stock and just trade. I hear whispers among some of these people, nothing about any Thrawns. But you said it's an imminent return. I'd like to return these sea monkeys, but they say they can't return them. What about new leadership? And other people are egging them on, here, laughing. And they say, this other Huck says, well, I got a plan. And they go, what about Pershing's research? Well, that didn't work out. Dr. Pershing, New Republic, research is gone, for now at least. And they say, Gideon, I hear about you. You held Pershing and were doing stuff on Navarro. And he goes, it's none of your business, man. Don't make it you about me. What goes on in my sector is my business. Same goes for every member of the guild except for the ones I'm pointing out. He goes, but we kind of scrape and claw resources waiting for this big plan. You and Pelion are the ones that have all the resources and equipment. Maybe you should share it. Everybody says, yeah, this is a sharing circle. We need a sharing hammer. And they say, we got your request, by the way. 3 Praetorian guards. What do you, you got a fancy suit on too, by the way, Gideon. They say, what are you, trying to be flashy? You starting a club? And reinforcements for your TIE interceptors and bombers, Gideon says. I need some bombers. And they say, like, Bomber, the tennis player? He goes, no, bombers, TIE things. Balm, put the balm on. And they say, okay, well, and he says, I'm increasingly confident the Mandalorians are going to try to retake Mandalore, and that would hamper our efforts. So Gideon says, don't worry, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And they all go, okay, great. We better get you that balm and your Praetorian guards, club or no club, because we'll be rid of the Mandalorians once and for all. And then they all say, oh, he says it, long live the Empire. Then everybody else says it too. And then we get the title, and the music feels bigger on this episode than the next episode. Chapter 23, Les Bois. Then we have a sky shot of Navarro's spaceport. Everybody's working together to repair things. So everybody's kind of helping out, picking up the town, cleaning up things, working together. But then they see the shadow come over the city, and they're like, what's going on here? There's a ship in the sky. Then we see a High Magistrate Karga, and a droid comes in. High Magistrate, holy cow, Imperial shuttle. He walks out his balcony, and he says, that's not a shuttle. It's a Imperial light cruiser. Or a light cruiser, it's not Imperial. It's, look at the markings. According to my data, it is. Well, it's got a mythosaur on there, buddy. These are Mandalorian privateers. Probably half the fleet was taken from the Empire. So they're on our side. Well, they're our treasured guests, or welcome to guests. Let's go greet them. So then we see a ship coming in. We even see the jets, which is cool because I didn't know these ships could land. I always thought they were just stuck in orbit. Then the armorer comes out of a tent as everything's coming in for landing. It's a slow sequence and really cool sequence. We see all the covert Mandalorians getting ready, gathering together as all these ships come into land. And then we see Oso and Bo-Katan's lap. Bo-Katan's hoping everybody's going to get along, even though they've never met. Kind of like a wedding or something. And the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, says they better get along if they know it's good for them. So also kind of like, I guess this is a bit like a wedding. It's a gathering of 2 separate groups that are going to be bonded together. Pat, what is it, Pat? Why can't I think of this name? This is not it's not a bit. It's just like whatever, my dyslexia sometimes like Piz, Paz, and Viz. But it's Paz says, hey, take the kids inside as the Blue Mandalorian group with Oso and Din Djarin walk. They're all kind of staring at each other, kind of all glaring. And they stand face to face, group to group. Obviously not much. And then Wolf acts, what's his name, takes off his helmet, so the rest of the Blues. Then finally, Bo-Katan. And there's some serious glaring, of course, like, oh, you're non-helmet people. But the armor has the share hammer and says, welcome, fellow Mandalorians. We invite you to make camp. We'll have dinner later together. Prepare a feast. And I did not know the feast would be referring to an older episode where I was wrong. But at least it refers to the older episode. And Bo-Katan even says to Paz Vasal, or not to Axe Woves, hey, keep it in line. I mean, she says it non-verbally. High Magistrate Karga meets up with Mando. He brings him a bottle of something from Coruscant. Looks like in this world, like Nike is making alcohol, like a booze. And Oso's like, what? He says, I guess there's not enough to share with this whole crew. Then we see an IG droid, which is moving in a very formal way. Grogu's having a snack as the IG droid comes in, and we see someone steering it, and it's alien. And he goes, what's up with IG-11? He goes, it's IG-12. What do you think? Do I like him? He goes, don't worry. It's just a remote control. It's base motor functions only. Removed his memory circuit. Pilot provides cognition. And this is IG-12 says, yes, Grogu likes it. This is when the alien's like, that's the baby that wants to hug me. And Karga says, this is more of a vehicle. He goes, be easier. And I didn't read between the lines, but he goes, why don't you put the kid in there? He goes, he's too little to operate this thing. No. Let me see if he fits. Of course, the Mandalorian does not like this idea. But Karga puts Grogu in there, and there's a remote. He goes, okay, try it out, kid. And he asks Mandalorian, Grogu, what he thinks. And he goes, even the Mandalorian says, yeah, it's, because he's too young to operate heavy machinery. And then there's a yes and no button. So Grogu hits no once when he says, maybe when he's older, no. What do you mean, no? No. And he goes, I think he's saying, Karga says, he's old enough to operate it. Yes. Get him out of there. No. Let him try it out. Let him take a spin around the office. Yes. Not a good idea. And he says, come on. And then Grogu rebels and starts walking around as IG-12. Not very good at it. And then there's a humorous sequence where Grogu says yes. Well, total of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 27 times, I think, in this sequence. And I think the next one. Oh, no, maybe that just is when he says, yeah, I think he's old enough to operate it. Yes, 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 yes. Then they go through town still saying yes. There's fun music. Grogu takes some sort of fruit from a fruit stand without permission. There's one yes and two no's. Because Din Djarin says, you got to pay for it, man. And he accidentally juices whatever papaya. Oh, first he takes some nuts or something, then some sort of papaya or star fruit or something. And he juices it all over the salesperson. Yes, yes, no, no. And the salesperson does not like that. So the Mandalorian's got to spend more money. Then we cut ahead to the feast, which we find out is our friends from our, like, Just a little twist I didn't expect, which I guess I got a kick out of. But I thought they were going to train those birds to work for them. But I mean, and then we have the camp. There's whispering and snickering going on, and it's awkward because it's two groups. Bo-Katan calls everybody together. Says it's time to retake our home world. Planet is not cursed, but there's still trouble there. Like dormant species and magnetic interference. We can't scan from above. So I propose we leave Navarro, move the fleet in orbit, and send out a small recon party. Scout the surface, find a great forge, make a perimeter, work together, then bring everybody else down. And a bit of silence greets that proposal. And she says, I need volunteers from both sides. And everybody glares at one another. Nobody says anything. Just like a teacher, they say, I don't know. But of course, Mando stands up. I'll go. Grogu will too. Grogu says, you betcha. And she nods. And then her old friend says yes, whose name I don't know. Then Axe Wolf says, I'll go. Then Paz Vasal says, I'll go. Then then everybody starts saying, I'll go. If all the brave people are going, I will. I'll go. Each side takes turns. And even the armorer says, I'll go. I will go as well. And Bo-Katan nods at the armorer. Everybody starts to gather around. Then it's the next day. Everybody's taking off. Dramatic music. And we have space. So we have them leaving the atmosphere. Then we have them coming out of hyperspace into orbit. Oh, no, first we have them coming out of orbit. And do they go into hyperspace? Do we see that part? No. Then we have them come out of orbit and orbit around Mandalore. And it's pretty cool because we see them in like a low orbit and then scouting party going to the surface. Yeah, we could see like the upper atmosphere, which is cool. Then she has to go through the magnetic interference storm stuff. And everybody's sitting down in like the cargo hold waiting to go. It's super bumpy. And there's rain, beeping and stuff. Then they come out of the storm. Everybody gets ready. Mando comes and checks on them. And he looks at everybody and then he goes back. He says, okay, I think they're ready. But Paz Vasal says, doesn't look good down there. And then Axe Wolf says, I was here when everything went down. Mando's cape is flapping in the breeze, or cloak, or cape, cloak. You call it a cape, I call it you call it a cape, I call it a clape, they call it a cloak. But he says, they're ready. So she says, okay, get ready to go. And find a place for me to land. Infill zone or something? I don't know. And they go all into the atmosphere. They get landed. They kind of establish, they walk around, look around, start looking at stuff. There's a lot of broken buildings. There's the green glass on the ground. But they don't see anything else. They say, okay, let's land this thing. Actually, Axe and Paz nod to one another. Landing zone secure. So Bo-Katan comes in, lands pretty quickly and smoothly. And the ship opens and Mando comes off. Then IG-12, Grogu, and Bo-Katan. Oh, and the armorer. Sorry, armorer. This is the way. I forget everything. So there's a dramatic exit, delayed exit for Bo-Katan. Also, that IG droid, I think, came off there. Bo-Katan says, somewhere below is a great forge in the capital. We just got to find it. We'll survey we'll find a safety zone in the forge, and then we'll bring down the settlers. And there's more nodding, and she says, let's go in this direction. She's very proud and happy, you can see. And they fall in like kind of 2 by 2. They start marching off. And we get another shot. Yeah, they're all marching. Not quite 2 by 2, I guess. Well, maybe. Yeah, no, they are 2 by 2 in that one. We see a lot of like rock structures. Then we see storms in the distance, really cool sky shots. And Mando catches something on the horizon. He says, okay, there on the horizon, there's something. And in somewhere out there, they said, Terry Gilliam, holy Terry Gilliam. So because they get ready, because there's just something heading towards them. And I don't know why this reminds me of Terry Gilliam. It just does. It's this giant land, like a ice, like a ship that sails on the ice, with those ice things. It's like a ship, what is that called? A sailing ship that's made to sail on the icy ground. And they say, do you have any food? The people on the ship. And Bo-Katan says, we do. And somebody on the ship says, is that Bo-Katan Kryze? You wear the crest of the Night Owls? Yep, I should hope so, Bo-Katan says. The armor says, they're Mandalorians. And yeah, then they say, is that the voice of Lady Bo-Katan Kryze? And they say, what in the name of Terry Gilliam is going on there? And then 3 Mandalorians fly over, and they take their helmets off. And they say, we can't believe it's you. They actually bow to her. We knew you would not forsake us, Lady Bo-Katan. We're in your service. We've stayed in your service. And then it's nightfall. We're on the ship. Everybody's eating. They talk about what happened, with the Empire and everything they did. Again, they say it was a warning to the galaxy because we refused to surrender. And Bo-Katan looks touched, but she says, actually, that's not true. I did surrender to, and they say, you surrendered? Oh, dear, holy. And then people say, I knew it. And Bo-Katan says, don't judge me. I mean, she says that with her eyes. She goes, our forces, the night of 1,000 tears, defeat was imminent. And I met with Moff Gideon. And the ISB had reached out to me to negotiate a ceasefire in exchange for submitting to the Empire and disarming. All remaining cities were going to be left alone. And that's how Moff Gideon got the Darksaber. And everybody says, my goodness. But Bo-Katan says it was the only chance I had. I mean, I don't know what you would, and Grogu is watching. Grogu blinks once. But then he did what he wanted to do, old Moff Gideon. Didn't keep his promises. Then everyone says, Moff Gideon. And they say, what about these people? And the armor says, we were hiding on Concordia. Were you the calculator watch team? No, that doesn't exist anymore. No more calculator watch team. Bo-Katan says, you know what? Division and squabbling has what's caused our problems. We've always been too powerful for outside enemies. And it's our own division that destroys us. And they slow zoom on Bo-Katan. Then they slow zoom on Mando. Then they do a wipe. It's a moon in the sky. Bo-Katan's staring at the moon. Mando comes up behind her and stands there. And he goes, I had no idea. We were taught that everyone had forsaken the way, that you were selfish and uncaring. And he goes, now I get it. Yeah, you were right. Bo-Katan says, I was selfish, and this is what happened. And the Mandalorian goes right up to her and says, don't worry, we're going to rebuild this. Isn't that our history? Thousands of years we've been up and down, but we've gotten through it. She turns around. She goes, I don't know if I can hold everything together. It's too much animosity. And all I have is this blade to unify our people. And the Mandalorian says, well, that's just a symbol. It means nothing to me or my people, nor to station or your family. What means more to me is honor and loyalty and character and the sharing hammer. And these are the reasons I serve you, Lady Kreese. Your song is not yet written. I will serve you until it is. And the Mandalorian bows and heads off. And Bo-Katan says, okay. And she has a little, like a determined look in her face. Then we see some of the people on the ship aren't feeling so well. And it's actually the armorer says, hey, not everybody's in the ship is feeling well. What if we take them back up to the, we could have them, we could give them water, we could give them proper beds. And Bo-Katan says, okay, well, we got to continue at first light, the rest of us. So they kind of decide to split up, agreed. And then Bo-Katan says, Captain, anybody well enough to join us in the search for the Great Forge? And the captain says, I can do better than that. I know exactly where it is. We'll bring you there. Bo-Katan nods. Then it's first light, onward Mandalorians to the forge. Very, everybody gets up ship shape, and they head off. So very cool sequence, getting the ship moving, and the music's playing, and then the armor takes off to bring everybody back to the fleet. We watch her take off, Mando, Bo-Katan, and IG-12, Grogu. We see the armor go through the storm. We see everybody on the ship with the armor, needing some rest. And then we see the ship going along, and we see the ship going along. They have, and we even see Paz and Axe playing some sort of chess, glow chess or something. But I guess it has adjustable rules because they say, he goes, you can't move like that. Axe Wolf says that. He goes, yeah, it's a flank jump. You're about to lose. And he goes, yeah, but that wing guard can't, only the wing guard can flank jump. And he says, and the enforcer moves like a wing guard when it's flanking. They go, Hughes, you don't know how to play this game. This is a gentleman's game. He says, I'll show you a gentleman. And the guy goes, really? He goes, really? That's how we do it. We, if you want to do, he goes, you either lose this game or we debate it. And he goes, well, how do you debate it? He goes, a hum off. We have these humming things and we try to hum. He goes, it's basically a way of doing a sympathetic vibration. Whoever sympathetic vibration makes this vibrating thing vibrate is the most, the most sympathetic. But they're not trying to do a positive, calming, sympathetic vibration. So they go back and forth trying to, like, basically a hum off, but an irritable hum off. And then everybody's like covering their ears because they say this is not helpful. But, they won't let it go. So they go back and forth humming in a grouchy manner, but like at their own tones. And everybody's just kind of watching, wondering who's going to win this hum off. Hummina, back and forth, back and forth. And they finally Grogu breaks it up because they say, can't you do anything? And say, no, you got to let it roll. Grogu says, no. Quit it. I'm the one, the force is the sympathetic vibration we're trying to be in tune to. He says that between the lines, by just making a cute sound. And Bo-Katan says, you taught your apprentice well. To Mando, he goes, oh, I didn't teach him that. He didn't learn it from me. We see Grogu nod at Bo-Katan. And then the ship is off, moving again. We also see the armor ship come out of the atmosphere, and we see the fleet. It says, yeah, I got some passengers aboard. Come in. We got some people, need some water and food and stuff. Okay, no problem. Let's get ready for that. So again, some cool shots in the ship. But then the ship sees something in the distance with double binocs, and it's like straight out of a movie. And they say, is that thing straight out of a movie? We don't even have that kid aboard that the beings love. So they see this big rock being. They say, is that the avalanche thing from Frozen? And they say, different timeline, man. And they say, is that like a thunder or something? They say, no. But whatever it is. And they say, is this the thing from Beetlejuice? And they say, Beetlejuice? And they say, don't say it a third time. But it takes out their ship because it does seem like a combination. Oh, no, it's an ankylosaurus. That's what I put in my notes. It's a giant ankylosaurus with the tail. And the tail takes out the ship. It looks like most of the Mandalorians fly away. But the ship is no more, which is kind of a bummer because, but I guess the ship served its purpose. Oh, no squabbling, yo. Oh, that was from earlier. And then they go to they go, everybody down. Let's go underground. And they go into a cave opening. Mandalorian checks on Grogu. He says, you okay? Yeah. And they say, actually, we just got to go further down anyway. Believe it or not, we just go a little bit more underground here. And they go down one hallway to get away from the ankylosaurus. And then they do a wipe. So we don't know how long they're hiking for, but they come out in another grand room. Grogu says, wooba booba. And they say, what is that? Holy moly. And it's like, that's the Great Forge, man. Those used to be the heart of our civilization. And there's a lot of, I don't know, it's pretty towering. But that's all that's left of the Great Forge. Axe Wolves is very introspective. No more forging, though. Paz says, you lived here? And I say, yeah, we all did. And the captain says, yeah, we had to go below the surface, though. But you can't go any lower. And then they hear something with jetpacks flying towards them. And then somebody says, yeah, some tried to explore below, but didn't go so hot. And then there's a sound. The Mandalorian looks up, says, the jetpacks? More Mandos or what? But nope. Bo-Katan says, those aren't Mandalorians. Helmets on. And then it's Nerf dance-off time. Pool noodles and all. And these are the the troops that were waiting with, why my mind just go blank, with Moff Gideon. And they're pinned down, and then Axe Wolf says, I could get to the fleet for backups. And they say, you'll never make it. And then Paz says, I'll cover you. There's a hole in the ceiling. Go for it. And this is Axe Wolf's big moment. He flies off up out of the underground. Paz Vasal is really effective. Then everybody gets effective. And they start using Mandalorian teamwork. Oh, no, not yet. It's still not going well for the Mandalorians right this second. But, once they get in close, that's when the Mandalorians are more skilled. Where these I don't know who these Gideon, these are cookies from the Gideon's Bakery. So there's a lot of back and forth, throwing down, as they say. And, but you definitely see Bo-Katan, Paz Vizsla, and the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, be highly effective. Bo-Katan leads them. They're chasing all the people who are running. And the Mandalorian says, even to IG-12, you got to keep up, bud. They go through some tunnels, they chase them down a hallway. And I think there's even victory music or victory style music where you say, okay, this is going to end on a high note here because they're really effectively chasing things down. And the Mandalorian, Din Djarin uses his like super Beskar to like lead the charge then. And then we end up in a base because all the Gideons take off, and they come into like an Imperial-style base built into this canyon. And Bo-Katan says, what is this place? Then the door closes behind them. Then the door closes in front of them. A bunch of the Mandalorians are stuck in a room, like an air duct, and Din Djarin and just 3 other regular Mandalorians there. Grogu's inside the airlock. So is Bo-Katan. Grogu doesn't like it. And they managed to kind of lasso Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, as far as we know now. Then who lands? But a fully suited, fully armored Moff Gideon with a helmet and everything. His helmet has a built-in crown, so you know that he considers himself a ruler. He says, I rule. Very Vader-esque, takes his helmet off with one hand, by the way. His helmet comes right off. And he says, thanks for getting everybody together, bud. This worked out great. You're a talented people, but your time's passed. You lost the stance off. But Mandalore will live on in me. Even has, like, blinking lights, goes, thanks to these rich resources, next generation, Dark Trooper suit. Forged from Beskar alloy. So Beskar's an alloy. And most impressive improvement, then I'm wearing one. You know, I'm superior. You see, every society has something to offer. Cloners, Jedi, and even the Mandalorians all come to a conclusion through me. I aggregated the best. And I'm gonna bring order to the galaxy. And well, then they say, why don't we go and take out their fleet while we have the element of surprise? Interceptors, bombers, take off. Bo-Katan says, oh, no. And then they start getting in ships and getting them ready to launch. The ships start taking off. Paz Vizsla's like, oh, no, this is all, everybody is on there. Another purge Mandalore. And Mando's totally, he says, take it, Din Djarin to the debriefing room. I need his briefs, so debrief him. And Bo-Katan says, I can't believe you, man. What a Jerk. He goes, oh, Bo-Katan, got to stop meeting like this. Hardy har har. She says, I'll make sure of it. He goes, skip the pleasantries. Goes, this is the part where you give me your Darksaber back. To me, who unrightly took it. She holds it up. He says, now surrender the Darksaber and tell them I'm in charge. She looks at Paz Vizsla and nods. She says, this is the way. And she uses the Darksaber to open up the door. Carves, let's see. I think it's like at least a 8 to 12 inch hole. Thickness, a hole big enough to climb through. They open the doors. There's another dance off while Bo-Katan's cutting a hole in the door. Oh, yeah, no, 14 to 18 inches, I'd say, thickness. Paz Vizsla says, I'll cover things. Everybody go. But everybody has to go one at a time through the hole. But Paz Vizsla has that, whatever you call it, a repeater or something. Even Grogu goes through the door. But there's more and more of these what are these called? Gideons. And then Bo-Katan says, why don't you fly back? We're not going to leave you behind. He goes, no, this is the way. Closes the door on her. Too many. You better go. She says, no. He says, this is the way. And he doesn't have very much of a problem. Like, he really he doesn't make it super quick work of all the dark troopers from Gideon's Bakery. Because eventually his repeater overheats from use. And then he uses it as he tosses it. Then he makes moves. I mean, he is way more powerful than most of these run-of-the-mill Gideons. But then in a kind of slow-mo, I'd say balletic, non-poetic, balletic slow-mo, after Paz has taken out all the Gideons. These three, what are those things called again? There's, ominous choral music playing, it says, and neon equipment. Paz pulls out his vibranium, whatever thing that, he used for humming. What are those things called? I forgot. It was already in the episode, but, Crimson Guards and G.I. Joe. But same concept. And unfortunately, they do say, Paz, why don't you take a nap? In fact, why don't you go to the Concordia, not in the sky around this planet, but why don't you go visit another Concordia? He says, okay, I guess. So he goes to sleep. And is that the last image of the episode? Yeah. And then we see our art. First, we see a panel with the neon city. The pavement is wet. There's steam, and there's someone walking, presumably KOB or whatever, THK 5551 or whatever. And then we see the probe, I don't know if that's a probe droid, but I wouldn't want to be probed by that droid at all, even verbally. Then we have a long hallway. I don't know what episode that's from, what part of the episode that's from. I forget. Then we see the fleet coming in and High Magistrate Karga watching it. Then the face-off of all the Mandalorians on both sides. Then another face-off at sunset of all the Mandalorians, set up from a different angle, a low angle. Then IG-11 meeting IG-12. Then a really cute shot with cool lighting of Grogu very happily controlling IG-12. Then the banquet. Luckily, I don't see any sign of the foundlings. Then the land sailor, the ice sailor. Then the Ankylosaurus. You know, there was a movie called Ice Pirates. I don't know if I'll go on a tangent about it. Then we see the Gideons versus the Mandalorians in flight. And then another of them running down the hall after the Gideons. And then Mando facing off, surrounded with Moff Gideon. And then the episode comes to a close. But yeah, there was this movie, I guess this is what I'll close on, Ice Pirates. I think I asked, this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, it came up on script notes. So I tweeted Craig Mazin to find out if he had seen it recently and if it was as bad as, I remember it being good, but I was also a kid. And he said, no, I think he said, no, it's pretty much not good. Ice Pirates was like a I don't remember, this is what I remember about it. I get it mixed up with Spaceballs, and I'm not trying to be funny because, they had similar leads. Bill Pullman was the lead in Spaceballs, but every time I think of Ice Pirates, I think it's Bill Pullman, but it was actually an actor I don't know, like the $100 million man, Robert Ulrich. I can't say his name. Ulrich. It's not Ulrich though. And I guess it was like a Star Wars attempt. It was attempted space opera, not a parody. And I just remember seeing it early. I do remember there was a kissing scene that was a primary. Like I probably was like a very, very young lad. That caught my attention. I don't really remember anything else about it other than that. Robert Ulrich, some sort of kissing scene. They get it mostly mixed up with Spaceballs, which was a Star Wars parody. And, because then I say, was Daphne Z in that? No, that was Spaceballs. What about John? No, Spaceballs. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I've got a long list of strange movies I haven't watched, but I could do I just did a mini tale of the tape of space or Ice Pirates because that's all I remember. And that's all you need to know. I'm glad you're in bed, and I hope you're getting comfortable. If not, there's plenty more episodes. Good night, everybody. All right, I want to thank Gary, Sharon, and Carolyn. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. These are people that became patrons recently. Marcia, Laura, and Layla. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Peggy, Allie, and Nicole. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Mike, Alexander, and Jen. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Daly, John, and Derek. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. And Margot, Marge, and Liz. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody who supports the show directly or supports our sponsors. That's how we're able to be here free twice a week. And we grow as a podcast by people just spreading the word about the show. So I really appreciate that. Couldn't do it without all of you. And, yeah, that's it. We've grown our we've grown our archives to almost 600, which is our goal. And then we just got to keep the sponsors to sustain that or whatever Scoots is asking for here. Thanks, and good night, everybody.